Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news this morning. And it looks like another rhino is courting Democrats in order to try to win their primary. This is how bad the rhinos are. People like Senator Lisa Murkowski and, of course, Liz Cheney are both right now courting Democrats in order to vote for them in the primaries, because they don't have enough support from Republicans in order to overcome their challengers in these races. And it really gives you an idea who these people really are, what they really stand for, because what they truly stand for is to swamp the unit party and, of course, globalism, not America First policies, and, of course, not the constituents they were sent to Congress to advocate for now. Now, they're interested in other things, and this is why they have to reach out to Democrats in order for them to come out in their primaries, to vote for them to overcome their challenges they currently have in these primaries. And Lisa Murkowski, again, just like Liz Cheney, just recently sent out mailers and trying to get people to come out to vote for her Democrats as well. So that way, she could return to the Senate and continue to be a never-Trumper, but more than that, anti-American conservative. It says Alaska, Ryan and Lisa, we're asking court Senate Democrats for support in a brazen move against Alaska voters. He doesn't care about Alaska voters. At least we're asking you to Peaceworks $1. Former Alaska Governor and Senator Frank Murkowski, Lisa took over when her father left office in the early 2000s. That has held the seat ever since Frank Browse. He was a senator starting in 1981. So there has been a Murkowski, U.S. Senator from Alaska, for over 40 years. So you have a Bush supporting her. And of course, you got McConnell over here supporting her. So Senate Republicans who hate their voting base are backing Murkowski as well. They're a part of the establishment that feels that Americans works for them, not the other way around. This group of GOP politicians give the left everything they want. It's more important to have a happy relationship with the elites than save the country. But Alaska GOP knows Murkowski well, and they're joining President Trump and America in backing Murkowski to opponent, and the upcoming primary Kelly to Shabbat to ship to Shibaka. Now it's getting so bad, and America is looking or leaning on Democrats for help. Does it from Yahoo. Janine, shy. Shaming Sean, offered to campaign for Angus King, directed money to her, and Mark Warner is open to endorsing her whenever it helps most. No, she's not a Democrat. She's a Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. I don't want to get Lisa in trouble. Lisa is one of my favorite Republicans. And if the Republican Party were comprised of more senator-right people like her, the country would be much better off, said Senator Brian Schatz from Hawaii. She's a friend. And I think it would be a loss for Alaska if she were no longer serving. And said, you mean a loss to the Democrat Party if she was no longer serving in Alaska? Because, if there's an actual America First actual coalition within the Senate, you guys wouldn't be able to get any of your insane bills past the Senate, and having that firewall would be important. But Democrats are out there stumping for her, and that should tell you everything you need to know about her. She's a friend. Yes, I bet you she is, because she voted for left-wing nutbag, the communists. Kuchina Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court. This judge will never be a judge that adheres to the Constitution. She will vote radical left forever. Here right now celebrates openly with Democrats Mitt Romney and Lisa Grassi. Stay in a plug. Canadian Jackson SCOT U.S. confirmation as Republican colleagues walk out and discuss. Yeah, they were asking who claimed she didn't vote for President Trump. Now find yourself quoting her real followers, Democrats. What does this tell you? This tells me that she's a loser. And this tells me that people in Alaska in the upcoming primaries should absolutely vote for Kelly to Chewbacca over Lisa Murkowski. And yes, I know I'm bad at pronouncing names, and that's my thing. Okay, folks. Lamestream media is finally beginning to admit defeat on the J6 committee as more and more pundits recognize that it's been nothing less than an abject disaster. We're gonna take a look at the latest polls that are clearly deflating the lamestream media. We're gonna see how they're starting to turn on Bike Ride and Biden as a scapegoat. And the end result is a poll that finds the vast majority of Americans don't buy any of it. A new Harvard-Harris poll's just been released. They found that 53% of those polled considered the hearings biased, 63% feel Congress should be working on more important matters. and an astonishing 67% say that the hearings are dividing our nation. And this comes on the heels of this latest CBS poll that found that of all the issues that concern voters ahead of the midterms, inflation, the economy, crime, abortion, Ukraine, they included climate change, okay. All of the issues that voters are concerned with, January 6th comes in dead last in after all the effort by the lamestream media. That day they did everything they possibly could, even hiring an ABC News executive to direct the first hearing after all that sweat and sacrifice. Voters couldn't care less. So you gotta wonder how the lamestream media feels today. Again, all this effort to prop up Nancy Pelosi's handpicked committee, a committee that many believe was improperly formed according to the rules of Congress. And according to what's known as the adversarial process, the Washington Examiner's Byron York has actually been writing excellent pieces on the committee's blatant violation of the need to present both sides fairly and accurately in order to arrive at truth, which requires a certain numerical representation of the opposition. All of that the committee has completely rejected. So it's little wonder that the public at large isn't buying this. For 60% that Congress should be doing something else. Guys, record inflation, runaway. Gas prices, baby. Formula shortages, supply chain interruptions, imploding, southern border, and this is what our tax dollars are paying for a Pelosi panel, and things certainly weren't helped by the now largely debunked testimony the committee's supposed star witness Cassidy Hutchinson. If you remember, Hutchinson was an aide to Trump's former chief of staff Mark Meadows, and she supposedly had all this intimate knowledge of all the shenanigans going on with Trump on that fateful day our democratic republic was nearly destroyed forever. And oh man, did the media love her? I have rarely seen such fawning coverage, such adulation, such wonder. Trump freaking out in the beast inside the presidential limo, reaching over trying to grab the wheel and putting the driver in a chokehold, demanding that they turn back to the Capitol building so he could be part of the insurrection. Unfortunately, your testimony bombed. Turns out she wasn't even in the limo when the events that she described purportedly happened almost immediately after her testimony. NBC's chief White House correspondent reported that the Secret Service agents that were in the beast were prepared to testify under oath that what you said happened did not happen right around the same time. CBS News corroborated the Secret Service's emphatic denial that anything like what Ms. Hutchinson claimed actually happened, and it all just went downhill from there. So now, with these polls coming out with Hutchinson's more salacious details debunked, we're starting to see some of the media turn on all of this, and they're asking the question, what the heck went wrong here? And I'm thinking in particular of a piece published by The Telegraph with the headline "Is Time Running Out for the Democrats?" It's an interesting beast, to say the least. And I think it captures the frustration that's increasingly defining both the lamestream media and the J6 committee. Here's part of what the article had to say, quote, Joe Biden's approval has continued to fall despite the Democrats' efforts to prop him up. Now the latest New York Times Siena poll, Biden's approval rating is down only 33%, which is far too low for Democrats to retain control of Congress or the White House. Early voting for the midterm elections begins in less than 3 months, with the vacation month of August in between. Dawn has nearly run out for Democrats to save their sinking ship, and the article goes on, quote, Democrats had been counting on televised congressional hearings about January 6 to be the game changer they need to retain power. But their strategy hasn't worked. According to a new Harvard-Harris poll, 53% consider hearings biased, 63% consistent feel Congress should be working on more important matters. 67% said the hearings are dividing our country. The testimony against Trump has boomerang against the committee. The nonpartisan Secret Service disavowed the accusations by the surprise witness, Cassidy Hutchinson, and the much ballyhooed testimony by a former White House counsel was another nothing burger flailing away. Democrats have turned to a harmless tweet sent out by Trump a half-month before January 6. After wasting many millions of taxpayer dollars in a year and a half on this witch hunt, anti-Trump heirs resort to what was public on Trump's own Twitter account all along. Trump merely invited supporters to attend his own rally on June 6, which is not a crime. And the Telegraph piece goes on to point out that there are now signs that the Democrats have indeed begun to turn on Biden, which is a sign that they are increasingly looking for a scapegoat in this disastrous fiasco. So we're at least beginning to see the media implode in on itself with regard to the sham committee at the very committee that they've been artificially propping up over these last several months, even giving Liz Cheney the most glowing coverage imaginable. Mother Jones, the ultra-left propaganda rag. Mother Jones is calling Liz Cheney a hero, and that, to my friends, is backfiring. Big time. But first, before we get into that, you got to get one of these shirts. Clown Biden. All right, Liz, you know, things just keep getting worse for the J6 committee and Liz Cheney in particular. A new poll's just come out showing that Cheney is now down a whopping 28 points behind her Trump-endorsed primary opponent Harriet Hageman, 28 points. So it's obviously no coincidence that Cheney has been reduced to begging Democrats to cross over and register as Republicans to vote for her in the primaries, I believe. Two things are so pathetically bad for Cheney, this hero of the Bolshevik left, that she's out actually openly begging Democrats to help her win the primaries, and that fits perfectly with his funding Cheney. I'm sure you will not be surprised in the least to find out that major Democrat donors are funding Cheney's futile campaign, but as one of Wyoming's own senators said, unfortunately for Liz, there aren't enough Democrats in Wyoming for Cheney to win. She's just down way too far in the polls, and you don't come back from a 28-point deficit. Their primary in Wyoming is just a few weeks. And that means that in literally days from now, we're gonna have a video celebrating the end of Liz Cheney. Harriet Hageman is our hero for getting rid of this feckless rhino, this ridiculous Pelosi puppet. So all of this is just more evidence that the J6 committee has been a colossal failure. The media did everything they possibly could to prop it up, as well as portray Cheney as a hero. And in the end, it appears that all three, the media, the committee, and Liz Cheney herself, are crashing right before our very eyes. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to watch the next episode.